Hi, it's fall, and there is an abundance of pumpkins and squash everywhere you look right now. And there's a lot of things to make with them. Most people roast them or bake them, and which is great. Today, I'm going to take those leftover roasted or baked squash and make pumpkin pancakes out of them. It's really easy. The whole family loves them, and it's just a treat. I like savory, so I'm going to be making some savory pumpkin pancakes. And at the very end, I'm going to try to make them the easiest way possible, which my daughter loves, by putting them on a sheet pan and having sheet pan pancakes. But first, let's talk about the squash for a minute. I grow squash, I grow heirloom squash, so I have a lot of different varieties. They all work for pumpkin pancakes, but I just thought I'd show you the difference in color and a little bit of the difference in taste. This is a Cinderella pumpkin, Rouge de Tempe is what it's called. It's a French heirloom. It's very mild, and you can see it's a really pretty color. So if you're doing pumpkin pancakes for company, you might want to use one of these two because they're the prettiest in color. This one is a butternut squash, but it's an heirloom butternut squash called Sucre de Berry, and it's also a French heirloom. And as you can see, it's really, really bright orange. It's beautiful. It's sweet. It's more nutty than most of the squash, I think. And it's a little bit more stringy than something like this, which is real creamy, baby food type texture. And then we have this one, which is the ugliest squash, but also the best tasting. This one is, it's called Buen de Gusto de Horno, and it means good taste of the oven. It is it's not Italian, what is it? It is from Spain, that's right. And it's really good. It has a lot of flavor, but it's just a horrible color. So I like to use this one for things where the color is not as important. So today I think I'm going to use the milder one, and I'll show you how to make them. Very easy, very good. The whole family loves them. You can make them sweet or savory. We're doing savory today, okay? Follow me. Okay, this is pretty easy to make. Basically, 2 bowls, 1 bowl for the wet ingredients, 1 for the dry, and then mix them together. So I'll start off with the wet. This is a cup of the leftover squash, 1 cup of buttermilk. Buttermilk is a little more sour than other milks, so it works well with savory pancakes. 1 egg. Okay, and mix all that up together. Like that. And then the dry ingredients. We've got 1 1/4 cup of flour. Okay. Oh, I didn't put the butter in. That's for the frying pan or the skillet. Okay. So some Parmesan, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I've got some chipotle and some salt, 1 teaspoon and 1/2 teaspoon, and then a couple teaspoons of minced up rosemary. Okay. Mix all the dry ingredients together, and then we're going to add the wet to the dry and then take it over to the stove. Okay, I'm going to stir this up just a little bit more. Get that egg fully incorporated there, and then now, the batter will be a little lumpy, and that's okay. Lumpy is just fine for pancakes. You don't want to over stir it, okay? So just stir it up until it's fully incorporated. It should look like something like this. Okay, so this is what the batter looks like. All right. Now I'm going to let it sit for just about 5 minutes or so before taking it over to the stove. That just helps everything collapse into each other, and it seems to work a little bit better. Okay, the batter is rested, so let's take it over to the stove and see what we've got. I'm going to take the butter with me and the bowl, and I'll meet you over there. Okay, ready to give it a try? Now, like I said earlier, I use butter instead of oil. My husband likes bacon grease, which we use a lot too. So, now this little thing, it's important that your spatula will get under them and flip them over really quickly. This is actually a fish spatula. And it's very thin and very skinny, but and old, but it works really well for me. So I'm just starting with 1 tablespoon of butter in the frying pan and letting that melt. Nice and buttery. So I'm taking a 1/3 cup, putting it into the skillet. I'm using a cast iron skillet, it doesn't have to be. And making it into the size circle you want. See, I see a 1/3 cup seems to be just about the right size for me. I'll show you a close-up of this in a minute. Okay, so you let that sit there. The thickness, you know, the thicker they are, the longer you're gonna have to cook them, and you wanna cook them slowly. So mine are probably about 1/8 of an inch thick, and they'll probably take, I don't know, a few minutes. I would guess 5 minutes, but we'll check by putting our spatula under and seeing if they're golden brown on the top. Okay, there they are, my 4 beautiful pumpkin pancakes. Okay, the butter is bubbling around, and you should be able to move these a little bit when they start getting ready. And they should move as a single unit, like that. So before I lift them, I see if they're movable. That one is, and this one moved the quickest. So I'm just gonna pick that up and see if I can see under it, which I did. It's not quite done. I like it to be a darker golden brown. So we're gonna let that cook for a few more minutes. Okay, I think these are getting close. I can see that they're turning brown around the edges. So I'm gonna pick that one up. Look under it, yep, it looks nice and golden brown. Flip it over. Okay, so now they need to cook until they're no longer mushy inside or wet inside. So I'm gonna give them about 2 more minutes on the skillet, and then they should be ready to try. So I am going to pull them out and turn off the stove and try it, and then I will cook the rest of them off camera. Okay, time for a taste test, my favorite part. So because these are savory with the rosemary and the chili spice, my favorite topping is Mexican sour cream. I like the Mexican sour cream because it seems to be a little bit tangier than the sour cream that you get in the grocery store. So I just double on some of the sour cream. Now, as you can see, these are fairly thin, so I'm assuming and hoping that they are cooked all the way through. It's more difficult to have them done on the outside and the inside if you do thick pancakes. Still good though. These are perfect. Now, if you want to go super easy, you can make these in a sheet pan. It's the same recipe. You just butter some parchment paper, spread out your batter, put them in the oven at 400 for about 5 to 7 minutes, and slice them up.